Now we're going to talk about the child domain. So in many businesses, they might have a small branch of the business. They decide to have its own domain for the small branch of business. So for example, here at CNAQ, we have the college, we have the details in the college. Then we decide to give the exam center or the testing center their own domain. So we will call it, for example, testing.cnaq.qatar.edu.qa. So it's a subdomain inside the big domain. They will have their own domain controller, they have their own administrator, they can manage their own network, but they're still part of our major network. So we're going to create a domain controller. The same thing, I have to get a new server for this. I cannot use it on my own server, so I have to get a new server. So this is where I'm going to change the settings now and get a new server for me. So I will do the import again as we did every time. So I imported the VM and I'm going to call her DC new child domain. You guys can call it a blue child domain or a green child domain, whatever your domain name is. So here's my child domain. So again, it's just another domain controller that I will start it up. I'll go to it and I will do the normal setup as usual. It's the same options every time. As soon as you start the domain controller, you have to set up the time zone, you have to set up the IP address, you have to set up the BC name or the physical domain server name. Good. So just let's wait for it. So I've done the time zone, I've done the IP address, I've done the DHCP, the IP address is done already. So the setting of the IP address is done already. Good. So now again, we will add the roles. Good. Just as every time we do that. So we finish adding the roles now. The role is done. Now I do the promotion, the promote part to promote my domain to a child domain. Good. So in this option, we're going to choose add a new domain to an existing forest. Add a new domain to an existing forest. So we choose add new domain to an existing forest. Here we will write the parent's domain name, so it's ode.local. Good. Here the new domain name, so the new domain name I'm going to call it Hassan.local. Good. It's a whole different new domain. Again, I need the credential of the father domain or the main domain or the original domain. And in our sample, we're going to use the administrator account. And again, you remember here, it says audit DC3 sales. Sorry guys, my mistake. The additional domain name should be sales.ode.local. So I'm creating a subdomain inside the domain audit. I'm creating a subdomain inside the domain audit. When I click change here, it will ask me for the username. You see, it's getting the domain name, getting the new server name, so I have to give her the domain name. So I'll say ode.local /administrator. So ode.local/administrator, password 1 as usual. Next. So here is the father domain, here's the child domain, here is the user account I'm going to use. Next. The rest of the steps are exactly the same as every time we do it. Just next, 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 and it'll be done. So here you need just to write the sales word. You don't need to write anything, just write sales, and it will, by itself, it will do it at audit.local. So just write the word sales. Then in the next step, again, same as usual, password 1, password 1. Next. The DNS and delegation, we'll keep it, we'll click next. Next. All the next steps are just click next, 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 and we're done. Of course, we have to keep in mind that every time you've done the upgrade, this process to applying the changes might take forever. So just be patient for it. So after we promoted the server now, good, it will take some time to restart. Once we finish promoting, we will go here. We will find that the domain is sales.ode.local. So now I have a child domain on my domain. So this is my child domain. Now, my subdomain is ready. When I go to the tools, to the users, I will have a fresh domain. It will look like a brand new domain, but we have to keep in mind it's just the son of the other domain. So I have sales.ode.local, while on my main domain it's called ode.local. When I go here, I don't have my groups. It look like a very separate domain. So I'm going here under users, and I'm going to create the users, or let me do the same thing with it there. I'll create a new OU. New organization unit. I'll call it sales dash top dash OU. I'm not going to create something very big inside this one. I'll just make a couple of OUs, one for computers, one for users. Under users, I'm going to create a couple of users. So for example, Dana, and you notice here her email address is at sales.ode.local. Create the users, I can let them log in, I can give them access, I can give the share of all of this stuff. The most important part is how the how the subdomain can talk to the parent's domain. In the next video, we'll discuss these details. Thank you very much.